We set off from Wemyss Bay station, heading north along the A78 until we turn off shortly after passing under the railway bridge. Turning left off the A78 to avoid the busy traffic takes us along the waterfront. It was here that Castle Wemyss stood until demolition in 1984. During its heyday, it became a fashionable destination for the wealthy and famous, but the castle had fallen into a state of ruin after 1957, when the family who had inherited it could not afford the upkeep and sold the land to a developer. Inverkip Power Station was built on the northern part of the former estate grounds. The Shore Road turns back inland for a short climb back to the A78, but here we can stay clear of the traffic by riding along the roadside footpath. We now leave the A78 at the interchange which formerly provided access to the Inverkip Power Station. This was an oil-fired power station built during the 1970s. Due to the sharp increase in world oil prices after the oil crisis in 1973, it never operated to its full capacity except during the 1984-85 miners' strike, and it was eventually decommissioned in 2006 and demolished between 2010 and 2015. The Inverkip chimney, which at 236 metres high was the tallest structure in Scotland when it was built in 1976, was a notable landmark on the Firth of Clyde, easily visible from the summits of the Munros above Arrocha. It was demolished in July 2014. The origins of Inverkip date back to 1170, when land between the Kip and Daff rivers was granted to the monks of Paisley Abbey. The monks then built a church on the site of the old graveyard at the corner of Langhouse Road and Millhouse Road. After turning right from the main street onto Langhouse Road, we pass Inverkip Parish Church, which was built in 1805, and then turn left onto Millhouse Road at the old graveyard. Continuing along Millhouse Road, we go over the railway, which was opened in 1865. Inverkip Station was opened in 1867 and led to the village becoming more of a seaside resort than a rural agricultural settlement. Millhouse Road now descends to the valley of the River Kip. To the left of the road bridge is the old 17th century arch bridge known as the Roman Bridge. Millhouse is nearby, and the name suggests that at one time a mill was located here to harness the water energy of the river. Here's the old Roman Bridge. Lovely old 17th century bridge. It's not Roman, they call it the Roman Bridge, but it's not actually Roman. Lovely packhorse bridge. At Millhouse, we turn right to follow the deep, steep-sided and wooded Shield Hill Glen uphill to Cornelees. The hills here are composed of all red sandstone, and over on the hillside on the south side of the valley are the sites of former sandstone quarries, which were active in the late 19th century. The Inverkip flows steeply down Shield Hill Glen out of the compensation reservoir at Cornelees. The original source of the river has been affected by the extensive water supply scheme designed by Robert Thom and opened in 1827. The scheme involved damming the pre-existing river, which was known as the Shaw's Water, to create Loch Thom. Want to stop for a coffee? It doesn't look too busy. So. It's like a mirror to it. After passing Loch Thom, the road meets the old Largs Road, which crosses the hills from Greenock to Largs. Here we turn right, heading uphill towards the watershed at 275 metres. The road climbs steadily along the valley of the Routenburn, which flows north into Loch Thom. Beyond the high point of the road at the watershed, the road now descends into Brisbane Glen, following the valley of the Nodsdale Water all the way down to Largs. It's a fast descent of 275 metres over 5 miles, back to sea level at Largs. Brisbane Glen and the modern Australian city of Brisbane, the capital of Queensland, are both named after Sir Thomas Brisbane, who was born at the Brisbane estate in Nodsdale. He was appointed as the Governor of New South Wales in 1821 on the recommendation of the Duke of Wellington, and in 1824 a new settlement which was developed as a penal colony was named after him, eventually becoming a town open for free settlement in 1839. As we come into Largs, we divert off the Brisbane Glen Road and ride through the Glen Road housing development to follow the Nodsdale water down to the seafront. Largs has been a popular seaside resort since the second half of the 19th century, after the construction of a pier and several hotels in the 1830s, and the coming of the railway in 1895. Largs is also associated with the myths and legends surrounding the Battle of Largs in 1263, when parts of a Scottish army attacked a small force of Norwegians attempting to salvage ships from a fleet carrying the Viking armies, which beached during a storm. The alleged great victory of the Scots seems to be something of a myth, and historians now believe the outcome was inconclusive. What was more decisive was the death of King Haakon in Orkney shortly afterwards. His more compromising son, Magnus VI of Norway, agreed to the sale of the Hebrides to Scotland in the Treaty of Perth in 1266. It was this treaty which brought the Viking period in Scotland to an end, not the Battle of Largs. Leaving Largs, we take the Routenburn road, which climbs steeply to a height of 90 metres above the coast, overlooking the Firth of Clyde and its islands. This road was formerly a toll road from Greenock to Largs, before the modern coastal road was built in the mid-19th century.
A good viewpoint here.
As it heads north to Skelmorlie, the road provides splendid views at a number of points, looking out to Great Combray, Arran and Bute. The road descends back to the coast at Meagle, which is located at the foot of the Skelmorlie Glen, another steep-sided valley cut by a river flowing west from the hills of North Ayrshire. At Meagle, we must rejoin the main A78 coast road and cross the bridge over the Skelmorlie water before turning right again and climbing steeply on the north side of the Skelmorlie Glen to pass Skelmorlie Castle.
Steep hill coming up, just past Skelmorlie Castle.
There has been a castle here for many centuries, as it is a natural defensive site overlooking Meagle Bay. It was built by the founders of the Montgomery clan in the late 15th century, and the oldest part of the present castle dates back to 1502. The road reaches its high point at 85 metres as we pass the Skelmorlie Mains Caravan Park, and then it is an easy run down through Upper Skelmorlie back to the A78 coast road into Wemyss Bay.